So hello, everybody. Welcome,
Yes.
welcome, and thank you for joining us. So if you don't know us, we are the Dog Gurus. The Dog Gurus helps pet care businesses launch, grow, and profit. So if you're thinking about starting a pet care business, the Launch Formula program is awesome. That's a good place to start. Or if you just started your business. And then we have Growth Intensive program, and that program is for business owners who've been in the business for a little bit. Maybe they plateaued with client acquisitions or they plateaued in their sales. So the business or the growth intensive formula, that's a great place to start and to help get you to the next level for your business and also implement some systems into your business. And then we have the Profit Network program, and that is the next level of business owners. Maybe, a lot of our clients, they're looking to either start a second location, or maybe they want to become an absentee owner, or they just want to work from home majority of the time versus in the business, or they want to formulate an exit strategy. So the Profit Network program is a great place to start there. We also offer business consulting services as well as training programs for pet care businesses. So I am Shantae Marquez, who is a business development guru and Profit Network coach. And today I'm with Courtney Emkin, who is a Profit Network coach as well. So Courtney, do you want to give them a little bit more information about yourself?
Sure. My husband Bart and I used to run a business in Pflugerville, Texas, which is right outside of Austin, called Dog Boys Dog Ranch. And we were kind of the first doggy daycare in Texas way back in the day. Way back in the day. So we ran our business with, I guess, about 30, close to 30 employees and room for about 100 dogs at a time. And it was a lovely business that we had a great time running. It was a lot of work, as you know, those of you who are on the call. And after 27 years, we decided to sell our property and close our business. So now I'm working with the Dog Gurus and semi-retired and really enjoying some of that free time.
Yeah, that's awesome. A huge accomplishment. So
Thank
congratulations
you.
on that.
Thank
And
you.
did you see that we have Zelha? She's from the UK. So we got
Oh,
somebody from the UK.
welcome.
Yeah,
So
that's
happy
awesome.
you're here.
Yeah. So today's topic is about confronting your fear of price adjustments and the multi-pet discount. But before we get started, I'll go over a few things. During our chat, we welcome questions, comments, or feedback to the discussion. The more the merrier. It helps give us a robust conversation that people will likely benefit from. And I'll also want to tell you that next week on May 31st, we are going to be talking about how you can stand out from the competition and create long-term customer loyalty. You can do both those things and boost employee morale by having fun events at your business. So we want to spend the hour and share easy, inexpensive ideas that give your customers tremendous value and your staff something positive to talk about. So join us next Wednesday, May 31st at 3:30 p.m. Now let's get started. Courtney, you owned Dog Boys for a long time, and I'm sure you made many price adjustments throughout the years.
Yes, we
So,
did.
yeah. So, what was your experience like?
Well, it's funny. It thankfully, as a business owner, you grow over time and you get more confident. In the early days, we were very self-conscious about raising prices. We were very worried that we would lose customers, that we would lose that customer loyalty, and people would complain. The funny thing is that when we first started, it was 1995. We charged $12 a night, and that was what we thought we needed to get by, which, maybe it worked for a couple of years. But we have one client that was with us the whole 27 years, and she would come in and say, I used to pay $12 a night. And she would love to remind us every time. We were just like, we're so glad you're here, thank you so much. But we would just, at first we would just do like $1 here, $1 there. And I hope, we would look at our competition and see what they were charging, and we'll get into that a little bit. But we really felt like we were the best gig in town, so we weren't afraid of being the highest, but we didn't want to be too high. So it wasn't until I got involved with the Dog Gurus that I really understood, a better way to price your services and the importance of raising those prices every year. And I think a lot of us, especially our staff and those people who are working at the front desk who are fielding those questions, they have a lot of anxiety about worrying about customers complaining. And they also, unfortunately, a lot of them have kind of a poverty mentality, and they just assume that clients will not tolerate any kind of raised prices, when in reality, the opposite is true. It's very few people that actually complain. And most customers are happy to pay the extra price. At least 20% of your customers would already gladly pay more than what you're charging right now. So um,
Absolutely.
it's a lot
And
less scary when you think of it that way.
yeah, and really, honestly, I mean, we all know inflation has been a huge impact on our businesses, as well as the cost of payroll these days. I
Mhm.
mean, look, wages have gone up, rightfully so. So if you have not raised your prices in 2 years, a year, you definitely should be doing that. And I know it's hard and I know it's scary, but it actually is not as bad as you think it will be. And in fact, whenever I raised their prices at my facility, I would maybe get less than 5 complaints. I
Mhm.
mean, I thought I was gonna be constantly fielding complaints and, of course, anxiety, like you were saying, the front desk staff. But honestly, I mean, we would hear maybe 2 or 3 customers because everybody just understands that the cost of doing business has increased tremendously in the past, couple years.
Right. Yeah, we had a good habit of increasing at the beginning of each year, and so we would usually send out a newsletter sometime in December and just say, here's a bunch of other articles unrelated to price. And oh, by the way, click here to see our prices for next year. So we gave people 15 to 30 days to kind of look it over and think about it. And then by January 1st, everything moving forward was the new price. However, if someone had made a reservation prior to that date, they still got the old price. So it
We
really
didn't.
only applied to new clients. And, that worked out pretty well. So, it wasn't a problem for us as long as we were regular about it.
Right. And if you guys are using a good operating system for your reservations, then you should be able to put in the parameters for anybody who made a reservation before this specific date. It will honor the old pricing, but everybody who made a reservation after this date will have the new pricing. So you don't have to worry about trying to keep track of that as long as you're using a really good operating system.
Yeah.
There are a number of things that you should do before you actually implement a price adjustment and release those new prices. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that and how you went about that?
Sure. So there's three different ways to decide how you're going to price things. The first, and I talked about this a little bit, but the first is based on your competitors' pricing. So you're looking around, seeing what your competitors are charging. A lot of people are afraid to go above the highest competitor, but in reality, if you're giving the best quality care in the area, you should be charging the most. So it doesn't have to be crazy inflated, but just a little bit above. The second way to look at it is based on what you think someone will pay. And so if you're doing it based on competitors' pricing, are your competitors profitable? You probably don't know that. Do you provide the same value? You probably do know that based on what your customers are telling you. And you know, you don't want to shop with your own wallet. So just because you think it's too expensive, don't assume that your clients will think it's too expensive because you don't know the financial background of, a lot of your clients. And a lot of my clients were way more wealthy than I was. So I didn't worry about it too much. But based on what you think someone will pay, that's really just a guessing game. And so a lot of us do that. Well, I think I could get $35 a day for daycare, or I think I could get $180 for a training class. But it's really the best way to do it is based on a formula called cost plus profit. So it's not just the cost of your wages. It's the only way to really ensure profitability. So you combine your wages as well as your expenses and a percentage of your fixed costs in your building, how much it costs you to run your facility if you have a brick and mortar building. And then once you get the actual cost, then you add profit, the profit that you want, preferably 20%. And then you'll know, okay, this is what I need to charge. And if it feels like it's way more than what you're charging right now, maybe plan to go up twice in a year and do half of it now and half in 6 months, or half, you know, Memorial Day is a great time to raise prices because it's the beginning of the summer. And the other thing that you can do is have peak season pricing. And one of the things that we did is once we started peak season pricing, which we didn't do for many years because we felt guilty, but hotels do it all day long and nobody seems to mind. So once we started peak pricing, then the peak price would become our next year's base price. And so there was always a little ladder. So it was easy to step up to the next price because we knew it was last year's peak price, and then we would come up with a new peak price.
That
So
ladder system is great advice. So hopefully,
yeah.
you guys jotted that information down.
Yeah,
Um,
and you don't have to do something, you don't have to do all your prices every year. You can do, lodging and daycare 1 year and training the next year or 6 months later. It doesn't have to be everything all at once, but I promise you that Target does not send you an email when they raise prices. So no,
no,
nobody else does that except for the pet care industry because we care. So
yeah, and
um,
and that's absolutely true. Like if you, so there's two ways to go about doing your price adjustments, and notice the language that we're using. We're not saying price increases. So I hope that you guys are hearing that. We always say price adjustments. Using your language is very key when you're talking and introducing these things to your customers and your staff too. But now that we're kind of talking about the financials and profits, another thing to realize is, your revenue per pet. And I think you're talking about your cost plus analysis, but the revenue per pet is really important to know that, because that kind of brings us into a category that I want to talk about that I know a lot of people do, but that multi-pet discount. So for some reason, somebody thought it was a good idea that only the pet boarding and doggy daycare industry should offer discounts for a second or third pet. But I don't think that I hear vets offering this. I don't think PetSmart, Petco, I don't know of any other pet care industry that does this, but for some reason, we think that we should discount our value. So it's really hard to take this away, but what I want to say is once you figure out your actual revenue per pet, you're going to be shocked if you give that second pet or third pet discount. And I had that for many years. And once I took it away, actually nobody even noticed. It was, and I've had two other customers that have done this, the same thing. They were really worried. They were really worried. I finally talked them into it. And again, not one of the customers said anything about the multi-pet discount. So Edmund is saying, the human parallel, hotels, motels, charge more for second or third pet.
more, not less. That's
Yeah,
right. If you have extra people in your room, it's extra. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
we did that for a while too, where we had a multi-pet discount, and then over getting involved with the dog gurus and realizing that I was shooting myself in the foot every year, we just started to make that discount smaller and smaller and smaller. And the goal was to get rid of it over the next 2 years
Mhm.
prior to our closing. That was the plan.
Yeah, the huge opener is when I used a program called Prep Profits and Know Your Numbers from the Dog Gurus for me to understand my numbers and really figure out where the health of my business was. I Once I finally did all the calculations, I realized 1 year I was giving $60,000 away in discounts. Can you imagine? When I said this in our Profit Network group, Robin's mouth dropped. She almost spit up her drink,
She was like, "You're doing what?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was like, "What?" And I was like, "But this is what my plan is. This is what I'm doing."
Yeah, yeah. That's why that spreadsheet is such a game changer, because you don't really realize what you're giving away until you look at it on paper. So,
Exactly. And I was like, "Holy moly, this is, that really was limiting what level I was with my business." And again, I took it away. There was some other discounts that I took away as well, but I took
mhm,
it away and nobody even noticed, and I didn't get any kickback all from it. Now,
good.
another thing that if you're nervous about doing an overall price change, you talked about just doing certain departments here and there,
Mhm.
and that's a really great way for you to just actually test your pricing. So if you want to kind of test, hey, raising the pricing 10% or a dollar or two or whatever you're comfortable with, start out with a certain department. Maybe it's going to be your add-on services for or your grooming or bathing department, or maybe it's your daycare department, not your lodging department, whatever it is. But if you want to start out and just test the waters, start out small, and then hopefully that will make you feel comfortable to really do a huge price adjustment if it's necessary for the health of your business.
Yeah, there was a couple things that we did too, in instead of or in addition to change adjusting prices some years. So there was one year that we weren't prior to, but started doing charge after 1 p.m. If you're picking up your dog at 6 p.m. at night, the day you're supposed to pick up, that's multiple hours that we can't prepare that enclosure for the next dog. So yeah, it's going to cost you $20 extra. And so that we started to do something like that. Or if for some
And
people that
payroll dollars. It costs you payroll dollars for that.
absolutely it does. Yeah. And that second dog, going back to the second dog pricing, like that
Good
second dog and
question.
third dog, they don't cost you less. I mean, they might take up an extra run, but in reality, when it's time to feed those dogs, you got to separate them and then you got to put them back together. So it's actually more work to have more than one dog.
Yeah.
So it's not less work. So don't feel guilty about that. It's just, yeah.
So we
Anyways.
have a question here.
Okay.
And it is, so Elizabeth is asking, do you think multi-pet discounts would be profitable if only offered to pets that can share the same suite or
No,
kennel? So here's the thing.
I don't.
I did my pricing based on the value and the quality of my services, not on the square footage of their enclosures.
Right. Right.
So yes, they're sharing the same suite, but that's also a higher risk
Hmm.
because dogs are more nervous in
Hmm.
a not home environment sleeping there. And I've even had a situation where two dogs from the same home, got into it with each other.
Yep.
So, that's an increased risk for my staff to have to deal with, us having to call the owners, kind of finding another suite last minute. Not saying that's going to happen all the time, but I would just say that you should base your pricing on the value of your services and the quality of the services and what it's costing you to run your business,
Right.
not on the square footage that you offer for the sleeping enclosure, because
Yeah,
that's only a very small part.
correct. The value that you're providing is not square footage. You're providing a quality of care that they cannot find somewhere else. Or they can find care, but they might not find the same quality of care. So that's
Exactly.
what you're actually charging for.
And then we have another question. So this is from Zella. I've been
Okay.
giving a, a 5 walk a week discount since I began 10 years ago. So I'll absolutely be dropping this as a space is a space at the end of the day.
Right,
Okay.
right. Yeah, so if you are able to drop that discount, then I would. If you have any discounts in your system that you just cannot part with, make sure that you don't have any discount for anything that is over 10%. Because anything more than that and you are stripping away all profits, you might even be paying your customers to come because it might be costing you more than you're making.
And
So you definitely don't want to do anything more than 10.
And I would say that if you've been offering these certain discounts from the moment you started, well, go ahead and change that for all the new customers coming on, now, starting today. And or just for all your customers starting today and just explain to them, let them know. But if you do have a customer that really is making a huge deal about it and they, really just don't understand the price increase or they can't afford it, well, you can kind of grandfather them in for the next couple services of the old pricing, but then say after this amount of time, we're going to switch to the new one. So you're kind of working with them a little bit and trying to help them out and be sympathetic to their needs.
Yeah, you don't want to get into the habit of grandfathering everyone permanently because that
No.
is really hard to keep track of and it starts to upset your staff because they never know who to charge what amount and you just want to take those few people that are kind of complaining a little bit or maybe having a tight budget and
And
saying,
that are
"Look,
good
we're gonna
customers, not the bad
yeah,
customers.
exactly. I'm going to help you out for, the next 30 days or, you know, no more than a couple of months, but ideally just the next day or two,
Yeah, no more
at
than two.
most.
That's what I
Yeah,
say. All right, so let's see. We have another comment. Let's
sure.
see. We adjust prices every January 1st and notify clients by December 1st. We also offer option to pre-buy passes for next year at current prices.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, you're giving customers a chance to take advantage of this last minute, grandfather pricing or old pricing. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I would just limit to the amount of passes that they can purchase so you're not the purpose of raising your prices is to increase your profits. So you're not kind of just negating that. But I think that's a great idea. And I think your customers probably love it. So.
Yeah, and we would also never let anybody reserve more than a year out. So that way they weren't booking, 3 years worth of services at the old price.
Yeah, they get creative, right?
Yeah, we would only let them book through December because January 1st we would be charging new rates anyway. So that's how we did it. But some people
Okay.
would plan ahead and try to get a reservation for March or something.
We have a lot of questions on discounts, so I'm glad we
That's
brought this
great.
up. So Crystal, we have a veterans and first responders discount at 15%. This has been in effect for 17 years by previous business owner. I want to reduce it, but not sure how people respond and help on letting people know. So, I think that it's totally okay for you to lower that discount. I mean, first of all, I'd ask like how many people really take advantage of that? Is that how much of your customer base is really taking advantage of that? I'd like to know that information. But the way I would start is just maybe if you do a monthly newsletter, put it in a little blurb at the monthly newsletter. Also, with that newsletter, whenever you're introducing new prices, you want to talk about all the new things that are happening. First, that's what you
Value.
want to lead with. You want to lead with all the cool stuff that's going on. What are the new features and what are the benefits of those features? Okay, so that's the most important thing when you talk about the features of business. You must talk about the benefits. So, if you're going to announce your prices, first start with that. And then just very short and sweet. You can add in at the bottom that you're adjusting your prices.
Right. You want to create so much value in your communication that people don't even think twice about the prices because they're like, I can't get, this value is so great. Like, I don't ever want to go anywhere else. I'll pay whatever they charge.
Yeah, and I would say like really 30 days is pretty much, I think that's really adequate time.
I
I don't
agree.
know, what are your thoughts on that,
Yeah,
Courtney?
I'd say 2 weeks to a month in
Mm-hmm.
advance. And it's not even required. That's just like really courteous. But like I said, nobody else in your shopping life warns you that their prices are going up.
Yeah, and we used to also in our POS system, we were able to like put little tags at the bottom of our receipts. So
Hmm.
sometimes we would just put it in there too.
Hey, FYI, prices are going
Yeah.
up January 1st. Yeah, I've never gotten an email from my vet about pricing. Not once.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
So I think it's okay. Don't feel guilty. You're worth it.
you're worth it. Yeah. And you have to think about the profit margin for businesses in our industry is so small overall. Like we're trying to get you guys to 20% profit. That's our goal for you. But some of us were squeaking by at 5% or 4%. Every time you give a discount, you're scraping off those tiny profits that you're making right now. And it's really hard to be sustainable long term as a business when you're not making any profit. And if anybody complains, or even with the veterans, like you could add an article saying, we want to be here in the future. And the way that we need to do that is to reduce our discounts a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean we don't care. We're still very grateful and, want to honor our veterans. So we're going to keep the discount overall. It's just going to be reduced a little bit.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I don't know that I would even mention it. I would just reduce it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're still offering it. So.
Yeah.
So one of the other things that you really want to do when you are making a price adjustment is getting your staff informed, getting them to buy into the new pricing, which sometimes can be a huge hurdle. But it's really important that they believe in the value and the pricing that you offer. So when they're talking to customers about it, they can talk about it correctly. And what I would say, if you have a really great rock star on your staff that's a receptionist, maybe even they can take that price adjustment inquiry and turn it into an upsell.
Yes.
So, that's also an option too.
Yeah, we should show them how to do that.
Okay, you wanna do a little role play? And
Yeah, I'd
that's what
love
I
to.
recommend to do with your staff too. Do a little role play with them so that they can kind of get used to it, talking about it and what they're gonna say.
Yeah, so I'll play the customer and you're gonna be at the front desk and I'm just gonna tell you that I noticed the price change and you you kind of help me walk through it, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And scene. Hey Shantae, I noticed the other day when I was making my reservation that you guys prices have gone up. So how long ago did that happen?
Hi, Miss Emkin. Yes, they did. We just adjusted our prices. Thanks for asking about it. So we just recently put that into place about a week ago, but I'm here to tell you that we are committed to the ongoing promise of providing Noodle the superior care and fun he deserves, and of course you've come to trust. But after analyzing our cost, we found it necessary to make some slight price adjustments. But we also have a lot of new features to offer, like our enrichment program.
Ooh, tell me about enrichment because I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's so cool. This program is designed to enhance mental stimulation for dogs. And research has shown that mental stimulation is just as beneficial to a dog's health as physical activity. In fact, necessary to the overall well being of Noodle.
Well, he is an old man now, so his mental stimulation is a lot more important than his physical stimulation. He can't really get around as much as so. I think that sounds great.
Yeah, and this enrichment program that we're offering has we do doggy puzzles, we do licky pads, we do snuffle pads, we can teach them tricks and so much more. And you know what? Actually, next time you are scheduled to come in is Hula Hoop Mondays. It would be
What?
so much fun to teach Noodle how to go through our hula hoop course. He'll love it. Would you like me to sign him up?
Well, seeing as he was an agility star in his heyday, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it.
All right, I'll sign him up. It's only $8 more for that session.
Yeah, and thanks for talking to me about the pricing. I feel a little bit better just understanding kind of the why behind it. And, I want my dog to have the best care. So, I want you guys to be around for the long term. So I'll
Oh,
pay.
thank you.
I'll pay.
Absolutely. We love noodles. And we love you. So thank you
Oh,
for
thank
for
you.
coming to us. We appreciate it.
My
Scene.
pleasure.
So that's like a little, that's just one way that you can kind of train your staff to talk about the price adjustment, address it with a customer, but turn it around and start to use it as an upsell and promote the other services that you're going to be
Right.
offering.
As long as you're focusing on value, they'll stop focusing on the price. And
Exactly.
anybody who only focuses on the price, that's not your customer anyway. Like,
That's what I always used to say. I'm like, if you are just calling around and checking prices and you don't want to know anything else about us, well, you're not my customer because we cater to the people that nothing's too good for my baby and they are really concerned about the quality, not necessarily about the pricing.
yeah. Anytime anybody would call me about pricing, I would just say, if you're calling about pricing, let me at least tell you how we're different from other places. And they were like, okay. And then it just went off into a good place after that.
So we have another question.
Sure.
So Donna is saying, how would you feel about passing on the credit card fees we pay to the customer?
I don't like that idea at all, frankly. Only because from a customer perspective, it feels kind of icky. So, I mean, the best thing you could do is just raise your prices to cover those fees, and then you don't have to put any of that on the customer.
Yeah. So I would say that, yes, you can do that, but just don't call it credit card fees. Basically, just figure out how much you need to adjust your pricing, increase your pricing, and account for it that way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because again, how you present it to the customer is huge. They'll have one reaction or another depending on how you
Yeah.
present it.
And credit card fees are generally like less than 3%. So you could just raise your prices 23% instead of 20%. Once you figure out what the cost is, just add in that extra 3%.
And then let's see, we have another question. How do you handle late pickups and fees?
So the way we did it was we would give people like a 15-minute grace period. And if they were late, we would say, hey, I know you were less than 15 minutes. It's no charge this time, but I do want to let you know anything over 15 minutes would be an extra $20 fee within that first hour. And then it's $50 after it's been an hour. So, if you have a child in daycare, it's $1 a minute. Like, it's to the minute they charge you extra every time. So it's really only a problem if you have somebody that's a repeat offender and always is like 10 minutes late every time. So he knows he's right under the wire, but he's still late every time. Then you just need to have a conversation with that one client and say, look, we love you. I really need my staff to go home on time. So I need you to come 10 minutes earlier.
So we did something a little different. So if you picked up, okay, we had like a 5-minute grace period, but if you picked up after, like, we closed at 7, and if you picked up after 7:05, that automatically went into a after hours pickup fee. And if I had customers that were repeat offenders of this, I created a package for them. So
Mm-hmm.
basically they could pre-purchase a package of after hour pickups. So basically we didn't have to have the discussion with them every time that we needed to charge them that after hours pickup fee. Basically we would take it off their account, and it was so much easy, and we created an upsell. So
Wow. That's nice. That's nice. I want to touch on this question that Edmund has about credit
sure.
card fees. He said, since we're all accustomed to different prices for cash versus credit cards, isn't it easier to just list it separately or directly? And I would say maybe that's how it's done in the Northeast, but in the South, there's only one vendor I know, and it's a local liquor store that has a cash discount if you pay cash. So they don't word it in a way that you get charged extra for a credit card. They just have these prices, and you get a 2 or 3% discount if you pay with cash or a debit card. So if you have to do it separate, if you have to add those fees in, do it that way. Don't add on for a credit card, because 90% of people pay with a credit card. So you'd rather, give a discount to 10% than inconvenience 90%.
Right. Oh, it's gas stations.
I honestly, like, I have an abundance mentality, so I don't pay attention to the little onesie twosie price changes, and I don't shop based on whether I get a discount or not on my credit card. I just swipe and go. Like, I'm a swiper. In fact, now I just use this. I don't even get my wallet out anymore. I'm just like, this is so easy. And yeah, I do have a budget, so don't worry about me there. But yeah,
He
just
said
don't
good
even
point.
worry. Thank you, Edmund. Don't worry about it. Just let it go. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, let's see if did we cover everything? Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on with this
I think
subject?
so. I mean, if anybody has more questions about kind of cost plus pricing, I would say stay in connection with the dog gurus, because through Pet Profits, the spreadsheet that you can purchase, or just through other workshops that we do, there are ways to get that info, related to cost plus pricing. So that's what I would recommend if you're on the fence about which way to figure out what to charge.
Yeah, and while we're talking about Pet Profits, that product I put in the chat the link there, so I'll tell you a little bit about it. If you are a growth intensive member, you actually have this product for free in your LMS system. But for those of you who aren't, you can purchase separately. And two things I know is true: numbers don't lie, and knowledge is power. Okay.
Yes.
So knowing your numbers is really the difference between whether your business is just scraping by or if your business is thriving. So Pet Profits is a 32-page PDF download. It has Excel templates that will help you understand how each service you offer contributes to your profits. And it gives you step-by-step directions and easy to use templates to provide clarity on the revenue you make per pet and your break-even numbers, super important. So that way you'll have the confidence in your pricing decisions. It also includes special templates just for dog trainers and pet sitters, as well as pet care facilities. So in that link, you can go ahead and go to the website, and there's actually a sample there that you could take a look at it. And then we have a comment. Let's
Sure.
see. That's nice. Zala, she says, you've given me the push I need to do a price adjustment, which I plan to do from the 1st of September. So my clients will have plenty of notice. Thank you.
Yay. Great job, Zilla. We're proud of you. Let us know how it goes.
Yes, we would love to
We're
hear
here
it.
every week.
Yeah, and if you ever do want to just reach out to us and find out more information, it's real simple. You just go to support@thedoggurus.com, which I'm putting in the chat right now. If you have any questions about our products that we have to offer, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, we're here for you. We really, I mean, truly want to see you succeed. So stay in
Absolutely.
touch. And through the Grow Your Pet Care Business Facebook group and the Dog Gurus Facebook page, like, there are coaches and other pet care facility owners online, just, happy to answer questions if you have them.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and put the Grow Your Pet Care Facebook page in there. So if you're not a member, please come on and join us. It is a group that's open to pet care business owners. It's a great place to get advice, to maybe throw out if you have questions or just kind of want to know what's going on. It's an awesome place. There's a lot of chatter on there. So go ahead and
Totally free too. Yeah,
totally
there's
free. Click on
no
that
cost to
link.
be involved.
We just have two rules: be nice and no selling.
And don't sell anything.
Yep. Or else I'll take your post down.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
no, but if there's no other questions from the audience out there, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Courtney, thank you so much for this discussion. I had a lot of fun with you today.
Oh, yeah, me too. Let's do this again. I did want to just mention Jen said, is that in launch formula? I think it's just in growth intensive. You can purchase it separately though, and it's pretty affordable and totally worth the money. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that does it. So everybody enjoy the rest of their day. Smile at a stranger,
Yeah,
and
thanks
we'll
for
see you
joining
next
us.
time. All right.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.